वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 3, the glories of Srila Haridas Thakur. Text number 67 now. So Mahaprabhu had asked Haridas Thakur that how all these Yavans will be liberated. So Haridas Thakur said, even by chanting Namabhasa stage, like Yavans, if they say Haram, Haram at the time of death, they can be liberated. Now Mahaprabhu is asking, Prithvite Bahu Jiv Sthavar Ajanga Iha Sabar Ki Prakare Aive Mochan. On this earth, there are many living entities, the Lord said, some moving and some not moving. What will happen to the trees, plants, insects, and other living entities? How will they be delivered from material bondage? हरिदास कहे प्रभु से कृपा तुम्हार स्थावर जंगम आगे करियाचन निस्तार. Haridas Thakur replied, my dear Lord, the deliverance of all moving and non-moving living entities takes place only by your mercy. You have already granted this mercy and delivered them. See, this is the only path where Lord himself is even worried about plants and trees and insects also, not just the human beings, not just, okay, you follow me, otherwise you are a non-believer and I have every right to kill you. Nothing like that. He's even worried about plants, sthavara jangam, trees, plants, insects, and other living entities. This is really the path of compassion. So Haridas Thakur saying, Tumi ye kariya chahi ucha sankirtan sthavara jangame rasei aita shravan. You have loudly chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, and everyone, moving or not moving, has benefited by hearing it. Shuniya jangamer hai sansar rakshaye sthavare se shabd lage pratidhvani hai. My Lord, the moving entities who have heard your loud sankirtan have already been delivered from bondage to the material. And after the non-moving living entities like trees hear it, there is an echo. Pratidhvani nahe sai kare kirtan tomar kripa rei akathya kathan. Actually, however, it is not an echo, it's a kirtan of the non-moving living entities. All this, although inconceivable, is possible by your mercy. Sakala jagate hai ucha sankirtan shuniya prema veshe nache sthavara jangam. When loud chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is performed all over the world by those who follow in your footsteps, all living entities, moving and non-moving, dance in ecstatic devotional love. Even non-moving living entities, they're dancing in ecstatic devotional love. That's what Haridas Thakur is saying. Means the living entity, the body may not be moving, but the living entity, the jiva inside, that is dancing. Yaiche kaila jhari khande vrindavana jait balbhadra bhattacharya kayache namate. My dear Lord, all the incidents that took place while you were going to Vrindavan through the forest known as Jharikhanda have been related to me by your servant Balbhadra Bhattacharya. Vasudeva Jiva Lagi Kaila Nivedana Tabe Angikara Kaila Jivera Mochana. When your devotee Vasudev Datta submitted his plea at your lotus feet for the deliverance of all living entities, you accepted that request. जगत निस्तारित है तुम्हार अवतार भक्त भाव आगे ताते कैलांगिकार. My dear Lord, you have accepted the form of a devotee just to deliver all the fallen souls of this world. So when it is said that all the souls have been delivered, it's not that right away. Oh, they can get if Mahaprabhu is there. But not right away they get Krishna Prem and go back to Vaikuntha or Golok Vrinda. All it means is they made tremendous progress on the path of bhakti, but still further they have to take up the process and come to the level of prema bhakti. उच्च संकीर्तन ताते करिला प्रचार स्थिर चर जीवेर सब खटाइला संसार. You have preached the loud chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and in this way freed all moving and non-moving living entities from material bondage. Prabhu kahe sab jeev mukti abe pahabe, ei tab brahmand tabe, jiva shunya abe. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, if all living entities are liberated, the entire universe will be devoid of living beings. हरिदास भले तुम्हार यावत मृत्यु स्थिति तावत स्थावर जंगम सर्वजीव बचाती. सब मुक्त करी तुम्हें वैकुंठे पढ़ाई बा सूक्ष्म जीवे पुनः कर्मे बुद्ध करीब. Haridas said, my Lord, as long as you are situated within the material world, you will send to the spiritual sky all the developed, moving and non-moving living entities in different species. Then again you will awaken the living entities who are not yet developed and engage them in activities. So not yet developed spiritually or devotionally. Sei jiva habe iha sthavar jangam tahate bharibe brahmanda jaina purvasam. In this way, all moving and non-moving living entities will come into existence, and the entire universe will be filled as it was previously. While we are preaching, opposing elements sometimes argue if all living entities were delivered by the Krishna consciousness movement, what will happen? The universe would be devoid of living entities. In answer to this, we may say that in a prison, there are many prisoners, but if one thinks that the prison would be empty if all the prisoners adopted good behavior, he is incorrect. Even if all the prisoners within the jail are freed, other criminals will fill it up again. A prison will never be vacant, for there are many prospective criminals who will fill the prison cells, even if the present criminals are freed by the government. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Karanam Guna Sanghavasya Sad Asad Yoni Janmashu. Because of the living entity's association with material nature, he meets with good and evil among various species. There are many unmanifested living entities covered by the mode of ignorance who will gradually come to the mode of passion. Most of them will become criminals because of their fruitive activities and again fill the prisons. So simple. And how many living entities there are in a given universe? Or what to speak of universe? Even the room we are in, every room, wherever the devotees are sitting right now, is filled with trillions and trillions of living entities. Just one room. So there is no end to that. Purayena Raghunatha Sab Ayodhya Laya Vaikuntha ke Kela Anya Jiva Ayodhya Bharaya. Previously, when Lord Ramchandra left this world, he took with him all the living entities of Ayodhya. Then he filled Ayodhya again with other living entities. Avatari tumi aiche, pati acha hata, keha na bujite pare tomara gudha nata. My dear Lord, you have set a plan in motion by descending to the material world. But no one can understand how you are acting. Purayena Braja Krishna Kari Avatara Sakala Brahmanda Jivera Daila Sansara. Formerly, when Lord Krishna descended in Vrindavan, he freed all living entities in the universe from material existence in the same way. Na chevam vismaya karyo bhavata bhagavati ajay yogeshwareshware Krishna yat etat vimuchyate. Krishna, the unborn living Supreme Personality of Godhead, Master of all masters of mystic power, delivers all living entities, moving and non-moving. Nothing is astonishing in the activities of the Lord. This is from Bhagavatam, 10th canto. So delivers all living entities. But then he fills up the universe again. I am here Bhagwan Drishta Kirtita Samshrascha Deshanubandhenapi Akhil Sura Suradi Durlabham Phalam Prayachati Kim Utta Samyag Bhakti Matamiti. Although the Supreme Personality of God may be seen, glorified, or remembered with an attitude of envy, he nevertheless awards a most confidential liberation, which is rarely achieved by demigods and demons. What then can be said of those who are already fully engaged in devotional service to the Lord? So this is quotation from Vishnu Purana. Taiche tumi navadvipe kari avatara sakala brahmanda jivera karila nisara. By descending as an incarnation at Navadvip, you, just like Krishna, have already delivered all the living entities of the universe. Ye kahe chaitanya mahima mor gochar hai, sei janu mor puna ita nishchai. One may say that he understands the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He may know whatever he may know, but as far as I am concerned, this is my conclusion. Tomari Lila Maha Amritera Sindhu, Mora Manu Gochar Nahe Tara Ek Bindu. My dear Lord, your pastimes are just like an ocean of nectar. It's not possible for me to conceive how great that ocean is, or even to understand a drop of it. This is Haridas Thakur is saying. I can't understand even a drop of that ocean of nectar. Etashuni Prabhur Mane Chamatkar Haila, More Good Lila Haridas, Kemane Janila. Hearing all this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was astonished. These are actually my confidential pastimes, he thought. How could Haridas have understood them? Manera Santoshe Tare, Kaila Alingana, Baye Prakashite Sab Karila Varjan. Greatly satisfied by the statements of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him. Outwardly, however, he avoided further discussion of these matters. ईश्वर स्वभाव ऐश्वर्य चाहे अच्छा दीते भक्त ठाई लोकाइते नारे हायता विदीते. This is a characteristic of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although he wants to cover his opulence, he cannot do so before his devotees. This is well known everywhere. Ulanghita Trividha Seem Samatishai Sambhavanam Tava Parivardhinam Vardhim Subhava Maya Balena Bhavatapi Niguyamanam Pashyanti Kejit Anisham Tad Ananya Bhav. O my Lord, although within material nature is limited by time, space, and thought, your characteristics, however, being unequaled and unsurpassed, are always transcendental to such limitations. You sometimes cover such characteristics by your own energy, But nevertheless, your unalloyed devotees are always able to see you under all circumstances. So devotees can see him, or devotees can understand his potencies to whatever extent Krishna wants them to understand. So this is verse from Stotra Ratna of Yamunacharya. तबे महाप्रभु ने जो भक्त पाशे हरिदासेर गुण कहे शब्द मुख हाय. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to his personal devotees and began speaking about Haridas Thakur's transcendental qualities as if he had hundreds of mouths. Bhaktera guna kahite prabhur badaya ulasa bhakta gana shrestha tate Shri Haridas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu derives great pleasure from glorifying his devotees, and among the devotees, Haridas Thakur is the foremost. Haridasera gunangana asankhya apara keha kona anshe varne nahi paye para. The transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur are innumerable and unfathomable. One may describe a portion of them, but to count them all is impossible. Chaitanya Mangale Shri Vrindavan Das Haridasera Guna Kichu Kariyache na Prakasha. In the Chaitanya Mangal, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has described the attributes of Haridas Thakur to some extent. Sab kahana jai Haridasera charitra keha kichu kahe karite apana pavitra. No one can describe all the qualities of Haridas Thakur. One may say something about them just to purify himself. So that is also one of the reasons whenever there is appearance or disappearance day of any acharya, we speak, we sit down, we glorify that acharya. The reason being, first by glorifying him, we are invoking his mercy, and then that mercy or the glorification or recounting his qualities, we purify ourselves. Because that is our goal, to rectify, to purify ourselves. And by looking at the qualities of Haridas Thakur and describing those qualities, one definitely gets purified. And we invoke mercy of Haridas Thakur as well. Vrindavan das jahana kaila varna Haridasera guna kichu shuna bhaktagan. Or devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please hear something about the qualities of Haridas Thakur that Vrindavan Das Thakur has not described in detail. Haridas yabenicha griha tyag kaila bena polera van madhye katatin rahila. After leaving his home, Haridas Thakur stayed for some time in the forest of Benapol. So that is before he even met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Benapol is in Navadvip. Nirjan vane kutir kari tulasi se vana ratri dine tin laksha nama sankirtana. Haridas Thakur constructed a cottage in a solitary forest. There he planted a tulsi plant, and in front of the tulsi he would chant the holy name of the Lord 300,000 times daily. He chanted throughout the entire day and night. The village of Benapol is situated in the district of Yashohara or Jessore, which is now in Bangladesh. Benapol is near the Benagano station, which is at the border of Bangladesh and may be reached by the Eastern Railway from Sialda station in Calcutta. Haridas Thakur, being the Acharya of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is called Namacharya Haridas Thakur. From his personal example, we can understand that chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and becoming highly elevated in Krishna consciousness is very simple. Without difficulty, one can sit down anywhere, especially on the bank of Ganga, Yamuna, or any other sacred river. Devise a sitting place or cottage, plant a tulsi tree, and before the tulsi, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra undisturbed. That's all. Haridas Thakur used to chant the holy name on his beads 300,000 times daily. Throughout the entire day and night, he would chant the 16 names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One should not, however, imitate Haridas Thakur, for no one else can chant the holy name 300,000 times a day. And every day, not just on Nirjala Ekadashi. Such chanting is for the Mukta Purush or liberated person. We can follow his example, however, by chanting 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the beads every day and offering respect to the Tulsi plant. This is not at all difficult for anyone, and the process of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with a vow before the Tulsi plant has such great spiritual potency that simply by doing this one can become spiritually strong. Therefore, we request the members of the Hare Krishna movement to follow Haridas Thakur's example rigidly. Chanting 16 rounds does not take much time, nor is offering respects to Tulsi plant difficult. The process has immense spiritual potency. One should not miss this opportunity. So, as Prabhupada says, to make progress in Krishna consciousness, it's not difficult, just chant. Chant before Tulsi Maharani, and if not Tulsi Maharani, just chant. Brahmanera ghare kare bhiksha nirvahan prabhave sakal loka kare pujan. For his bodily maintenance, he would go to a Brahman's house and beg some food. He was spiritually so influential that all the neighboring people worshipped him. In the days of Haridas Thakur, all the Brahmins worshipped Narayan in the form of Shaligram Shila. Therefore, begging from a Brahman's house meant taking Krishna Prasadam, which is transcendental, nirguna. If we take food from the houses of others, such as karmis, we shall have to share the qualities of those from whom we take alms. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took prasadam in the houses of Vaishnavas. This is the general process. The members of the Krishna consciousness movement are advised not to take food from anywhere, but a Vaishnav's or a Brahman's house where deity worship is performed. So if they are performing deity worship, then obviously they would be offering the deities food, and one can accept that food. But in the process of preaching, many times we have to take food somewhere. So the process is, in our mind, we offer that food to Krishna and then accept it. And also, I've seen what some devotees do, which is also nice activity, that not just taking the food, they first do some service, whether do some sit down and everybody does kirtan or have some katha. So that way they say, we have done some service, now we can accept service from those householders. So then it balances out, kind of. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Vishaira anna khaile dushta hai. If a devotee takes alms or food from the house of a karmi, who is simply interested in his money, his mind will become unclean. We must always remember that a devotee's life is one of vairagya vidya, renunciation and knowledge. Therefore, all devotees are warned not to live unnecessarily luxurious lives at the cost of others. Grihasthas living within the jurisdiction of the temple must be especially careful not to imitate karmis by acquiring opulent clothing, food, and conveyances. As far as possible, these should be avoided. A member of the temple, whether grihastha, brahmachari, or sannyasi, must practice a life of renunciation, following in the footsteps of Haridas Thakur and the six Goswamis. Otherwise, because Maya is very strong, at any time one may become a victim of Maya and fall down from spiritual life. So some or other, now we've been on this path in the spiritual life, we got to be careful. That's all. We have to protect it and we have to make sure that we continue making progress. And for that, we have to be serious about what do we eat, where do we eat, who do we associate with, and if we are serious about our chanting. That's the most important service. Say Deshadhyaksha Naam Ramachandra Khan Vaishnava Vidveshi Say Pashanda Prathan. A landholder named Ramchandra Khan was a zamindar of that district. He was envious of Vaishnavas and was therefore a great atheist. Haridase loke puje sahite na pare, tar apaman karite nana upaye kare. Unable to tolerate that such respect was being offered to Haridas Thakur, Ramchandra Khan planned various ways to dishonor him. So this has always been going on. People become envious of devotees, and all the devotees, they don't need anything, they're not asking for anything, they don't have anything. But people become envious, seeing the fame of these devotees, how people are following him. So sometimes people become envious. Kaun prakare Haridaser chidra nahi paye, Veshya ganayani kare chidrera upaye. By no means he could find any fault in the character of Haridas Thakur. Therefore, he called for local prostitutes and began a plan to discredit his holiness. This is typical of atheistic men. But even among so-called religionists, sadhus, mendicants, sannyasis, and brahmacharis, there are many enemies of the Krishna consciousness movement who always try to find faults in it, not considering that the movement is spreading automatically by the grace of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who wanted it spread all over the world, in every town and village. We are trying to fulfill the Lord's desire, and our attempt has become fairly successful. But the enemies of this movement unnecessarily try to find faults in it, exactly like the old rascal Ramchandra who opposed Haridas Thakur. So he called all the prostitutes in the area. Veshya gane kahi vairagi Haridas, tumi sab kari hara vairagya dharma nash. Ramchandra Khan said to the prostitutes, there is a mendicant named Haridas Thakur. All of you devise a way to deviate him from his vows of austerity. The devotional service is the path of the Ragya Vidya, renunciation and knowledge. Haridas Thakur was following this path, but Ramchandra Khan planned to induce him to break his vows. The renunciation means renunciation of sensual pleasure, especially the pleasure of sex. Therefore, a brahmachari, sannyasi, or vanprasth is strictly prohibited from having relationships with women. Haridas Thakur was strictly renounced, and thus Ramchandra Khan called for prostitutes because prostitutes know how to break a man's vow of celibacy for their feminine influence, by their feminine influence, and thus pollute a mendicant or a person engaged in devotional life. It was impossible for Ramchandra Khan to induce any of the women to break Haridas Thakur's, and therefore he called for prostitutes. Free mingling with women has never been possible in India, but for one who wanted to associate with society girls, they were available in a district of prostitutes. There were prostitutes in human society, even in Lord Krishna's time, for it is said that the prostitutes of Dwarka city came forth to receive the Lord. Although they were prostitutes, they were also devotees of Krishna. But here in this case, they were not devotees. वेश्यगण मध्य एक सुंदरी युवती से कहे तीन दिने हरिवता रमती. Among the prostitutes, one attractive young girl was selected. I shall attract the mind of Haridas Thakur, she promised, within 3 days. खान कहे मोर पाई का योग तुम्हारे शाने तुम्हारे सहित एकत्र तारे हरि ये न आने. Ramchandra Khan said to the prostitute, my constable will go with you so that as soon as he sees you with Haridas Thakur, immediately he'll arrest him and bring both of you to me. वेश्य कहे मोर संग हौक एक बार द्वितीय बारे धरिते ताईनु तुम्हारा. The prostitute replied, first let me have union with him once, then the second time I shall take your constable with me to arrest. रात्रि काले से वेश्य सुवेश धरिया हरिदासेर वासाय गेला उल्लसित आया. At night, the prostitute, after dressing herself most attractively, went to the cottage of Haridas Thakur with great jubilation. Tulasi namaskari Haridaser dware yaya, Gosai re namaskari rahila dandai. After offering obeisances to the Tulsi plant, she went to the door of Haridas Thakur, offered him obeisances, and stood there. अंग उघाड़िया देखा वसीला तू याद कही तेला गाइला किचु सुमधुर स्वर. Exposing part of her body to his view, she sat down on the threshold of the door and spoke to him in very sweet words. ठाकुर तुम्ही परम सुंदर प्रथम यौवन तुम देखी कौन नारी धरिते पारे मान. My dear Thakur, a great preacher, great devotee, is so beautifully built, and your youth is just beginning. Who's a woman who would control your mind after seeing you? तुम्हारे संगम लागी लुब्ध मोर माना तुम न पाइले प्राण न जाए धारा. I'm eager to be united with you. My mind is greedy for this. If I don't obtain you, I shall not be able to keep my body and soul together. हरिदास कहे तोमा करीम अंगीकार संख्या नाम समाप्ति यावत आए अमार. तावत तुम्ही वसी सुन नाम संकीर्तन नाम समाप्ति है ले करीम ये तुम्हार मान. Haridas Thakur replied, I shall accept you without fail, but you will have to wait until I finish chanting my regular rounds on my beads. Until that time, please sit and listen to the chanting of the holy name. As soon as I am finished, I shall fulfill your desires. एते शुनि सही वेश वसिया रही कीर्तन करे हरिदास प्रातः काल हैला. Hearing this, the prostitute remained sitting there while Haridas Thakur chanted on his beads until the light of morning appeared. So he kept on chanting whole night. प्रातः काल देखी वेश्या उठी अचली सब समाचार आई खानेर कही. When she saw that it was morning, the prostitute stood up and left, because their work is only at night. Coming before Ramchandra Khan, she informed him of all the news. Ajiya mangikar kariya chivarnan kali avashya taha sange aibe sangame. Today Haridas Thakur has promised to enjoy with me. Tomorrow certainly I shall have union with him. आर दिन रात्रि हैले वेश्य आईला हरिदास तारे बहु आश्वास करीला. The next night, when the prostitute came again, Haridas Thakur gave her many assurances. Kali dukha paila aparada nalai bamora avashya karimu tomaye angikara. Last night you were disappointed. Please excuse my offense. I shall certainly accept you. तावत यहाँ वाशी सुन नाम संकीर्तन नाम पूर्ण हाइले पूर्ण अबे तुम्हारा मान. Please sit down and hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. until my regular chanting is finished. Then your desire will surely be fulfilled. So he again said, yes, I'll fulfill your desire, but let me complete my rounds. The problem was he never completed his rounds. Tulsi re tanke vesha namaskar kari, dware vasi nama shune bale hari hari. After offering her obeisances to the Tulsi plant and Haridas Thakur, she sat down at the door. Hearing Haridas Thakur chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, she also chanted, "O my Lord Hari, O my Lord Hari." Herein one can clearly see how a Vaishnava delivers a fallen soul by a transcendental trick. The prostitute came to pollute Haridas Thakur, but he took it as his duty to deliver the prostitute. As clearly demonstrated here, the process of deliverance is very simple. With faith and reverence, the prostitute associated with Haridas Thakur, who personally treated her material desire, a material disease, by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Although the prostitute had an ulterior motive, somehow or other she got the association of Vaishnava and satisfied him by occasionally chanting in imitation, "O my Lord Hari, O my Lord Hari." The conclusion is that by associating with the Vaishnava, chanting the holy name of the Lord and offering obeisances to the Tulsi plant or a Vaishnava, all lead one to become a transcendental devotee who's completely cleansed of all material contamination. So let's stop here and see tomorrow what happens with that prostitute. Okay, so you all please see if there are any questions or comments. Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri.